Some of these clowns talk about it, but see, I lived it. When that cell door opens, the talking's over. Ain't no guns, ain't no drive-bys. Get your knife. Straight hand-to-hand combat. Peace, blessings, and salutations. My name is Yurima Karama here with another segment of Voices from Behind the Wall. Last segment, we were talking about USP Beaumont, and we're going to talk about my transition to the camp in this segment. But one of the things I wanted to talk about briefly about Beaumont that I didn't mention in last segment is the geographics. Beaumont, the way the institution is set up, it has a wall around it, a big wall that you can't see over the wall. So when you're actually looking, you have to look up to the sky. You can't see over the wall unless you are in a unit where you're on the second floor. Then you can kind of look out your window and see over that wall. But outside of that wall is fence. So you got the wall, then you got the barbed wire fence outside of the wall. Then outside of that, inside of that, you have the guard towers that surround the institution. But within the institution itself, like right in the middle of the rec yard, you have a guard tower. So let's say you had a race war, and last segment we talked about race wars, or let's say you have just two groups getting into it, or it could just be a couple guys on the basketball court getting into it. That guard tower on the rec yard, he will let off shots. He will let off warning shots. They're not always in the air either. Sometimes he will let off shots into the ground. There have been a few times where we've, been moving from the education department back to the unit, and something breaks out on the yard, and bam, you got to immediately hit the ground. And there will be, a siren going off, and they will be saying, you will hear on the loudspeaker, everybody on the great face down on the ground, and shots will ring out. And shots, you might feel some dust kick up by your head because he didn't just let off a shot in the ground, letting you know they're not playing. So that was one of the things with Beaumont as well, is you have that guard tower right there. Nobody ever got hit, but it's probably only a matter of time before that does happen. But in any case, so I transfer back to a medium, then I transfer to a low. Now, when I'm at the low, I actually have camp points. And so I go to the unit team, which is the counselor, case manager, and unit manager. And I'm like, hey, I got camp points. Put me in for a camp, because if I have those points, that's where I need to be. And so they were like, we're going to put you in. I've had clear conduct. I mean, I still file periodically if I need to, but I've had clear conduct. So my points are low now. So they put me in. I get approved for Duluth, Minnesota camp. So the first thing about this is that I get a chance to travel now on the Bureau of Prisons bus. I travel, but I'm not shackled. I don't have the leg shackles because I'm considered a camper. And so, I'm on the bus. I get a chance to, just kind of sit freely without the shackles and feeling like, I'm public enemy number one. We get to Duluth. Now, of course, we get to Duluth and we go through the processing. They're still going to make you strip. They're still going to tell you to bend over, touch your ankles. They want to check your ass crack. We still go through that. But I noticed that after the processing, we go to the units, there's no privacy at all. We're living in a dorm setting. It's like 3 to 4 people to each dorm room. And so I'm already like, oh, wow, so I'm weighing now where I just came from as opposed to where I'm at. I was in a 2-man cell, had some privacy. When my cellie would leave, I could put up the sign if I needed to use the restroom. None of this type of open type thing, where everybody can see you. The next thing I noted, the one good thing is there's no staff in the unit all night. You govern yourself. That's good. However, You have the staff who are patrolling like the Gestapo. We literally got a guy there that they've nicknamed Johnny Bravo. I mean, this guy's literally jumping out of bushes on you, like, what you got? And and I'm just like, really? There's more security here at the camp than we ever had in the penitentiary. What's going on here? So, it was just like it. I was at a point, and I told some guys, I was like, I'd rather go back inside behind the fence. And they were like, are you serious? Now these guys have never been inside. They've always been at a camp. So I'm like, yeah. I said, this is ridiculous. If you're at a camp means more freedom. That's at least what I was always told. So, I'm like, I'm not liking it here. So I go to the unit team and I have my first unit team meeting. So they're talking to me about halfway house. And I'm like, halfway house is you go to a halfway house when you're released, and the purpose is to reacclimate you back into society slowly. So they say there's a process where they're doing like a year halfway house. And so they're talking to me. So my unit manager's like, hey, we want to get you, signed up for the halfway house, start getting your name on that list. So I tell him, no, I'm not doing halfway house. And so he's astounded. He's like, not doing halfway house? What? I said, no, I'm not doing halfway house. I'm going straight out. So he says, look, the people that go straight out, he said, statistics show, recidivism is lower if you go through a halfway house. I said, no, I've never read that. I said, I know that statistics show recidivism is lower if prisons and institutions were offering college like they used to. I know that the higher your education level is, the lower the recidivism rate is for you coming back. I said, but I've never heard anything that says if you don't take halfway house, your recidivism rate goes up higher. I've never seen that. So I said, but even if it does, I'm not doing it. And I said, here's the reason. When I was arrested, first by the state, and then the federal marshals came over and took jurisdiction, they never said once, you're innocent until proven guilty. So we're going to put you in a halfway house so that you can continue to support your family until these court proceedings are done. They never said that. Never said that. They didn't bring me halfway into the system, so I'm not going halfway out of the system. I'm going to go out the same way I came in, fully. I'm not going no halfway house, nothing. I'm going straight out. That's the way you brought me in. That's the way I'm going out. So he was just like, I can't believe this. And I was just like, well, that's how it's going to be. You can't force me. It's not like I have to go to the halfway house. So I'm there. Now, one thing that kind of kept me was, I'm still performing. I'm still doing my art, my creative thing. And, they had a band room there, so I'm still able to do the music and that sort of thing. So that helped. So then I go to him and I say, look, it would be beneficial if I was transferred closer to home so I could see my family prior to me releasing. My family's in Ohio. So they put me in for a transfer. I get approved. I go to West Virginia. Now, what's unique about this is that this is the first time I transferred with no security, no BOP staff. They actually drive me to the Greyhound bus station, and I'm able to transfer by myself, free. They give me some money to buy food, that sort of thing. So I'm in Minnesota. We start off in Minneapolis. We're traveling down to Kansas City. We're going to St. Louis, Tennessee, and I'm like flabbergasted because I'm seeing the new technology. I'm seeing everything. People are on the bus with laptops, and I'm not used to this. I haven't seen this. Remember, I've been gone like 18 years now. So I'm like, wow, everybody's got a cell phone. I see bums in the bus station with cell phones. I'm like, how does that happen? And come to find out, I think they were Obama phones at the time. But I'm just like, wow, amazing. I go to West Virginia. Tales from Behind the Hood. Next segment, we'll talk about my stay in West Virginia, and then we'll get into the transition of me going out back into free society. My name's Yarima Karama. You can catch me at www.yurimakarama.com, my webpage. Friend me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. My album, My Testament, Volume 1 is out. It's at Amazon, iTunes, Spotify. You can catch me on Reverb Nation. Let's network, have a conversation. If there's any questions or concerns that you have, topics that you want me to touch on, hit me. Peace. Salutations. Testament, I'm on one. Give you the treatment, represent to a further extent. It's the first volume of my testament. My testament. My testament.